Okay, start over. Um, okay, guys, how are you? Where are we right now?
So we're actually in BGC at Sage Studios. We're doing our first live podcast, like face to face, right? Yeah. So that's where we are.
Pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded podcast.
I'd like to add, this is the first time we have physically met in the flesh.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Even
it
you
is.
guys, first time in the flesh.
Yeah,
On Sunday.
on
yes.
Sunday, yeah.
On Sunday.
Really?
But when he
Wow.
picked me up, I felt like I've known him my whole life. Yeah,
We were speaking for 8 months
Yeah.
prior to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. We actually met our lawyer, Teresa, for the first time yesterday as well, and she's here. Hello, attorney.
Oh.
Yeah, you're gonna be in the second hour. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just keep going. Yeah, keep going with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your question was just circling back. When was the time that me and Alistair met, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't Sunday. I picked him up from the airport. I think it was the 24th.
Yeah.
24th, 5 a.m.
Wow. Okay.
Then it was like, what time is it right now? Like 3:30. So
Yeah,
it's
more or
like
less.
52 hours ever since then. And now we met you, man.
Yeah, crazy.
I took off. I took off Friday night at midnight. Then I slept, and I woke up. It was like, wow, it's Sunday already. What happened to Saturday? Right? Lost the whole day. It's kind of the same process when you go back to LA. You get your day back, but you don't lose a day. It's kind of funny how that works. We met obviously on either Facebook or LinkedIn.
It was Facebook Live because I think one of your associates reached out.
Outreachers, yeah.
Yeah.
They did. You had done some virtual assistant work before, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Started call center, then virtual assistants, then just decided to develop a specific niche until technically I still work virtually, but it's more of like a hybrid setup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. And you are a alma mater of University of Philippines?
Yes. But to clarify, I haven't finished my degree yet. So
Sound like you
yeah.
have already.
So I think it's the pandemic. I think I was the first batch of the online classes in 2020, and then a lot of things changed. So when it was 2020 pandemic, I just turned 18. That's when I started doing call center work, and then of course, the reason why we do work is to earn more money. So virtual assistance was like a way for me to like unlock that. But yeah, long story short, I needed to find my passion.
Yeah.
And I think having virtual work is empowering. And a lot of people do want that, but they don't know how. And I think that's why Kasama Connect is something that's very important. And I think later we'll discuss what Kasama Connect fills in, right?
Yes.
But for me personally, this is a close topic in my heart. That's why I'm grateful that we were able to talk virtually and then meet you guys.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
face to face at that.
Crazy.
Face to face at that. Yeah.
What I admired about you was your style on TikTok. You have an opening scene, and then it's your camera. You put it down, and then you just start talking. And I'm like, I don't know anybody else that does that.
Natural.
Well, when it comes to this current generation of really catching, I don't know if you guys follow Afnan Khalifa, right? She's one of my role models. I don't know her personally, but billionaire, entrepreneur, Muslim family, right? So it's very rare to see a Muslim woman be so successful because that's not how their upbringings are. She always says the first, 3 seconds or the first 15 seconds of your social media, that's the most important thing, right? And I think that's what you figured out. That when I watch your TikToks, like that is what catches. It's that action you do, that's like that drop and fade out, or pan out, whatever like that. So when I saw you do that, it reminded me of what Afnan Khalifa says, and you kind of had like this. You kind of had like this. You have a voice of just dominance in a good way. Like you have a very strong tone in as far as your tone in leadership, right?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, especially with most Filipinos I know your age don't have that voice. You get what I'm saying?
Assertiveness.
There we go. The assertiveness. Yeah. And how old are you?
23.
Okay. I don't know a lot of 23-year-olds that talk like you, especially American kids, right?
I have controversial opinions regarding that.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's
yeah, we'll
crazy?
see.
I'm your age times 2.
Really? Is it really?
Yeah.
46?
No, I turned 44 in August. But
Okay, yeah,
pretty
okay.
much,
So younger than 47. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, but still, man, like if I had a kid, it'd be you. If I had
Thank you
a
so
kid,
much.
You're like the son I always wish I had. Let's put it now.
But do you have a
I do.
family?
I have 2
Yeah?
boys. I have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Nice.
They're mestizo.
Ooh,
Their mother
okay.
is a redhead. So anybody wants to see what that looks like, both my boys are very handsome kids. I'm the day I bring them to home, I know they might lock a movie deal or something.
Wow. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But we're exactly we're in BGC. We're at Sage Studios, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for setting this up.
Definitely.
This is good.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, one thing I've heard, I realized you've spoken about a lot is, well, actually, one of the many reasons why I've made these connections with not only influencers or people involved in the virtual space is what goes on in reality of the virtual outsourcing sector. It is unregulated completely, like no governance, no sole entity, nothing, right? And this this whole project, that's what it was going to be at first, was actually my, as you know, when I was talking to your peer in LaSalle, this was actually my, not my thesis, but my capstone, right? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was actually going to just start another agency like everybody else because I come from that model, right? I was an Army recruiter for 10 years in the military. You know, I've put in over 3,000 brave souls in the U.S. military of all genders, all races, all types of personalities. So identifying talent and finding the right people to fit the mold is kind of my thing. And when I realized that I could have perhaps the, you're going to hear me say this a lot. My leadership style is it's very military, in case you haven't noticed, especially the way I talk, the way I communicate. It's very autocratic at times, but it's with the best intentions, right? And when I realized that in the middle of university that this was completely unregulated and you know, the algorithms kind of spoke to me. I started seeing on my side of the house in the US all these gurus advertising cheap labor, but they never initially said where it's coming from, right? But as a Filipino American watching that, I was like, it's either 1 or 3 countries. India,
Yeah.
right? Latin America, or the Philippines. That's the only 3 it could be. Because how are they advertising this type of high-level work? Because first of all, virtual work is a thing in the United States, okay? But we don't call it that. We call it remote workers. I'm a remote worker for a very, very, very high-end tech company, all right? So I know what it's like to work virtually in a world of governance, in structure,
Definitely.
like 100%, right? So I'm hearing these, just put it out there, these Caucasian males keep talking about cheap labor, cheap labor. You can find them here. People don't know about it. They're educated. They all have bachelor's degrees, blah, blah, blah. They can do X, Y, Z. It's just like, let me check out these guys' disclosures. Look hard enough. Philippines. Whoa. I knew nothing about this, right? It's like, what? You know, the algorithms only speak to you if it becomes your thing, right? So I kind of let social media do its thing, right? All of a sudden, Instagrams, Facebook Reels, all of a sudden I see these other gurus saying the same stuff. Or it's two Caucasian males talking about some place where they've discovered where labor is cheap. That's all they talk about. It's so cheap, so cheap. And they're talking about like person's name. You know, I got this assistant, her name is Bethlehem. I was like, that is totally a Filipino name. You know, a lot of biblical names. And it got to the point where I was just so concerned. Like, So one day I decided, we know that Filipinos been very well known to be dominating the call center
Yeah.
industry,
It
right?
is.
Right?
Known fact.
We still run that shit, right? Kind of started with India, but Philippines kind of took over because
That's right.
they like the fact that we don't have an accent like that. Not there's nothing
Not a
wrong with
thick
it.
accent.
Yeah. So this, as I try not to use AI to find out my answers, but in that situation, I said, work for an AI tech company. Let me use one of my models and find this out, right?
Basically, you used a tool that's available to you.
Yeah. I used an AI research tool and I just answered two simple questions. What entity governs the virtual outsourcing sector of the Philippines? 3 dots, dot, dot. None. I was like, no.
But we get taxed.
No. At first I was like, so I asked another model, an advanced model that I use at my tech company. Same thing. None. No governing entity. I was like, this can't be possible. Then I asked Google, right? The original AI.
Yeah.
What sole entity, what governing entity, who claims responsibility? There has to be an answer. Who claims responsibility of the virtual outsourcing sector of the Philippines? It was a paragraph. No sole entity, no government claims responsibility for the industry. And I said, is it just the Philippines? It's the world. I was like, get the fuck out of here. No way. Not something that produces so much money. And we're not just talking million. We're talking about billions.
Of dollars
Billions
That's true.
are running in and out through cyberspace.
every year.
But at the same time, at that time, this was a year and a half ago. I was just like, I kind of left it at that, remembered that moment. And that's when I called my VP, my partner. I said, hey, brother, I have an idea. We've always wanted to go to business together. I'm not going to start an agency. He goes, why? And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna tell you what I found out. Maybe my AI or my Google search engines are jacked up, but I want you to ask these same questions. And I'm gonna tell you right now I have a solution, but I want you to verify what I found out if it's true or not. And I want you to ask other people too. He's like, okay. Bro, 30 minutes later, Chris calls me. He's like, oh my God. How is for as long as it's been going on, how is there not at least a dominating entity, at least? None.
Someone that supervises the craft.
At least some type of organization. Zero. So where's the structure? Where's the infrastructure? Where's the SOP, right? Who keeps track of transactions? And then I noticed that all these gurus are saying the same price tag, 250, 3, 4. I'm like, what?
250 is criminal. 250 is really criminal.
Totally.
Dude, there are even postings like $1.25.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully in the Facebook groups that I have, and yes, Facebook is still alive in the Philippines.
It is.
A
not
lot
going away.
of Filipinos really give advice for applicants who want to accept $1, $2 per hour, because the problem there is, other than its exploitation, it gives us a lower price tag for the service that we provide. So, I mean, we understand people have different needs, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's just important to have these conversations, to not just talk about it, but actually have an actionable solution. I think that's something that we could flesh out with what Kasama wants to do. I think that's something we can definitely talk about.
Well, the thing is, all these agency owners, all these gurus, all these lone wolves, I like to call them, all these Caucasian males, they're all saying the same stuff. And I'm like, who are you? Who the fuck are you speaking for an entire nation of people, telling the United States, your market, that that's how much they're worth? Where's the study? Where's the math? You know? And I'm looking at these guys' credibility, barely have an education. They're just pulling numbers out of their ass. And it infuriated me, I'm 20 years military, man. I come from structure, I come from standards and, regulations. And when it comes to something where people's talent and value is leveraged, it should never be about the price. It's about the quality, right?
Correct.
So, and you got guys speaking who probably took a trip to the Philippines and was like, oh man, my buddy's doing it too. So I'm going to be a guru and an influencer and do the same thing. And you got guys of all ages doing it. You got the probably last generation boomers talking about it. You got a lot of freaking Gen X's. You even got some, no offense, some young Gen Zs thinking that they can speak for the Philippines. And their websites, their Instagrams, their reels, it's like a freaking Uber menu. You get an SEO specialist. You got someone who can do your entire business. I'm going to give you like 5 HR reps, blah, blah, blah. For $450, you'll get like 5 people. I was like, whoa, whoa, So, I'm in university and I'm consulting with my professors and I'm talking about this and they're just like, it's invisible, right? You don't see this in cyberspace. Nobody notices it.
That's
so
right.
let alone people would even try to care, right? Because to see that there's this humongous problem, it's huge. You really have to, one, be aware, really like take the time to take a deep dive on what's going on, ask the right questions, and care. If I didn't say that already. And I just, that third trigger of care, that's like, dude, I'm a systems thinker, man. And I was raised to solve problems, and I was raised to defend people. Hence my name, in case you guys didn't know. You know what Alistair means? It's British for defender of mankind. It's kind of weird how you become what your name is, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So my second calling kind of just kicked in with that. So for me, it's like, all right, these are symptoms. These are symptoms, and those guys are viruses. They just keep spreading the same disease, right? And then everything has a CAGR, compound annual growth rate, right? We can go far back as prior to COVID because we know during COVID and post-COVID, that's when virtual work was not necessarily respected, but kind of leveraged to make the world keep going.
Yes, somehow necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my company alone, the company I work for, they woke up. They're like, wow, if we do work through the phone and through computer anyway, so why are we making our employees come back to the office? Now we can have them work from home and we don't have to pay, $36,000 a month to lease this building. Makes perfect sense. And we can give that money into our employees. So when that occurred, we all got raises, right? We have our own internets. They'll issue us our own laptop screens. We have, we're a governed system, federal government. So I know that the craft, I know that the system can be infrastructured in the proper way. It just takes a certain brain to do it, But at the same time, it's been in this, the current state of affairs has been like this for 2 decades now, maybe? So the culture and the norms are just completely tainted and just, it's bad. I mean, the industry's ran by the clients on the financial side of it all. They control what the American market says or thinks. And then you have the Filipino, I don't like calling them assistants, okay? Reps, that's what we're calling them.
Do tell them, sorry.
Virtual assistant is a subordinate label that they gave them to keep you right there.
Tell them what rep means.
Remote executive partner. That's actually the politically correct term. Okay. And because when you think of VA, what do you think? Subordinate level, Filipino.
That's an interesting take. Yeah, verbiage is very important. I
Absolutely.
like the word partner. That's why every time that I advertise my services, I say that, we're partnering regarding this. Like, I'm your partner in this
Right.
type of project.
Right. Like, hey, Mr. Client Partner, you want to employ me or contract me because you are unable to do what it is you want. So this is my value. This is what I bring to the table. You don't talk about price because they want quality, right? In any type of job interview, I'm sure all of you had job interviews. Do you talk about price at the beginning? No.
You don't.
And they usually ask you at the end, okay, what does compensation look like for you? That's what we say in the corporate world, and that should still apply in this. Just because you're not in a structured environment, you still say the same things. The rules are there. The rules are there. Nobody just bothered to follow them, right? Everyone's making up their own rules, right? So when you look at this industry, you want to figure out, like, how did this come to be, right? What was the source? Who dropped that water in the lake, and what caused the
RCA.
ripple effect?
RCA, basically root cause analysis.
Okay, and I want you to answer who started this, and it's pretty clear.
It is. He even has his YouTube channel. He even has he geocap the Philippines. We're not seeing what the United States are seeing unless you use a VPN to access it. It was the founder of OnlineJobs.ph. You know who that guy is?
No, not really.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Al, before you answer that, I have a quick question for you. Do you think OnlineJobs.ph is actually Filipino owned?
Well, I've been following Kasama Connect, so I think the short
Is it a
answer
yes or
is
no?
I think
prior to
no.
meeting us,
Oh, I think OnlineJobs.ph, not meeting you guys. I think it's Filipino owned.
Why?
what defines Filipino owned?
Well, at least based on the laws that I know in the Philippines, it should be at least 60% Filipino, 40%
That's not what I'm
foreign
talking
owned.
about. When you first saw that website,
Uh-huh.
all right, what hint made you think that the domain, the server, belonged to this country?
Well, I think marketing wise, especially for Filipinos who are looking for a job, they don't really think about who owns something. They think about if they can get a job there. But for me personally, I have the same mindset. So just having the name .ph at the end makes me think that it is a legal entity owned by a Filipino.
So not thinking transactionally, emotionally, is why everyone thinks it's Filipino owned.
In a way, because I think it's the .ph at the end, and just through referrals. Again, if people can get a job there through referrals, they'll just go to that website because they have a success rate that they can look at. So I think that for Filipinos who just want to have a decent wage, they don't really care where they get the job. They just want to get the job.
Right.
So
Settling.
That is true. And I want to circle back on the .ph that you just mentioned, because at least 80%, or even not even 80, but at least 100% of government websites here in the Philippines, they all have towards the end
.gov.ph.
.gov.ph.
yeah,
So everyone thought that OnlineJobs.ph
it's Filipino.
is Filipino owned.
Yeah, it's in the marketing. They really got it.
It was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ever since you've met me and known the existence of Kasama, how much more do you know of the truth of that website?
Well, personally, I never got a job at online jobs. I got it from Upwork. That's how I got a VA, and I've never bothered look at any other platform. But I've heard some peers who were successful there in online jobs. But at the end of the day, like, I think it's important for us to know what they've been saying in terms of like reviewing clients. Because for me, what I like about Upwork, other than the infrastructure, is you can give ratings to the projects, the clients that you have. So I think that's something that's
fair.
nice. Yeah,
It's fair in a sense of I did work for you, you did work for me, but it's costly, right?
that's
Because
right.
the platform has to make money.
20%.
So do you know, and that's a full stack system. We can agree that OnlineJobs.ph is not a full stack system.
Yeah,
What is it? It's a job board.
yeah. That's
That's all it is.
actually that's right.
And do you know how that job board was purposefully constructed?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to pretend I'm a guy named John Jonas.
Okay.
Okay. He's about 10 years older than me. Okay. He's from a small town in Utah, predominantly LDS. I'm not pointing my finger to LDS, but just for some reason, he's a Latter-day Saint. Okay. And he is a white American that has nothing to do with the Philippines, like zero. He's not even married to a Philippine wife.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm just like, out of all the countries in the world, why mine? right? So he wanted to go into entrepreneurship, and he just, for some reason, took a trip to the Philippines in like early millennia, like 2003, 2004. And he was like, whoa, these people speak English. It's the most American Asian country in the world, which we are. And he got an idea. And you can honestly say, I mean, I've been alive longer than you guys. The economy here, the paid workforce economy, it's been pretty stagnant, you know? And we'll get into why. But you guys are doing, I mean, gosh, I can tell you right now, BGC, when it was Fort McKinley, this
Yeah.
was a field. There was nothing here. This is like the new Dubai to me, right? Like this very building we're in right now was nothing. And then, you know, this was back in 2003, 2004. Then I come back in 2009 or 2008 with my wife. I'm like, whoa, where did this city come from? Right? But he took a trip here, probably not Manila, but he realized the high level of education we have here, and he discovered that this is where the call centers are coming from. And you know, if you're a white Caucasian male, you're going to get all the attention. You're going to be looked upon as culturally as an opportunist. So I think the story is he found like 3 or 4 Filipinos that were willing to work with him virtually. When we say virtually, any way or means possible that can be done behind a computer or a phone without actually organic connection. And I think he started with like 3 or 4. And they settled for $250 an hour.
At that year?
Yes, he talks about it all the time. If you go see, now that you know about him, you can actually break that algorithm, Jose, and look at all his YouTubes, look at all his Facebooks, and he's just bragging about how he doesn't do any, like his business. He only works 17 hours a week, and the rest of his Filipino virtual assistants do everything. His business is that website. That's his business. He actually doesn't have anything else. If you look at his LinkedIn, he's never had a real job in his life. He talks about how he's a programmer. No, he's nothing. He discovered Filipinos could do everything he could not do for very, very, very cheap to him. Now, I understand in this country, there's no such thing as an hourly rate, right? Everybody
Nah,
get paid a
per
daily
day.
rate. It's kind of like like a socialist environment in a way. It doesn't really matter what you do. If you're making $12 an hour doing this, you could also a day doing this, same $12 a day you could do at a gas station. So it's just like, pick your poison. Do you want this or do you want this, right? So that's kind of how it goes here. So he knows that. He knows that, okay, if I just say $250 an hour, that's more they could make in, a day within 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So Filipinos were like, okay, no research, no study, no nothing. Okay. Now, in a world of governance, in a world of structure, when you create an occupation, study must be done at the academia level.
Yeah.
You can't just make up a job and expect people to roll with it. But in this country, right, we kind of just settle for what we can take, or take whatever we can get. That's the kind of mentality we've had in this country for so long. I mean, I know that. I grew up here. I get it, right? And but these outsiders that don't know that, they take advantage of that mentality. They take advantage of the fact that that's how we've been bred to be, because we have been in a state of, I want to say this delicately, but we've been in a state of servitude our entire lives, right? 3 generations and back, right? But we don't have to be that way, right? But these guys and these girls that discover the Philippines for the past 20 years, that don't realize our history. They don't realize, like people like me that was born here, that learned English here, where this was, it was an American colony unofficially for a long time because of the military installations. A lot of people don't even remember or know about that. It was pretty groundbreaking when I went to the TFA, right? And they were looking at my birth certificate, and they're like, "You were born in Subic Bay with Naval Air." They were shocked. Like, they've never seen a birth certificate like that before. I'm like, yeah. They knew that when I was born, I was also born a U.S. citizen simultaneously. I didn't surrender my Philippine citizenship. It's just I was recognized by 2 countries, right? So
A lot of people don't know that.
a lot of people don't know. So that whole ASEAN, they all were like having conversations with me, talking about
What are we gonna be doing with this guy?
yeah. I told them, just keep watching TV. That's what I told them. Yeah. So, or here's the Facebook page, and a follower actually recognized me, man. He
Where?
at the DFA.
DFA.
At the DFA.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I mean, with 40,000 organic followers and 10 million views the past 90 days, somebody's going to recognize me. So he shook my hand. He goes, sir, he even said, I know you don't like people calling you sir, but I know everything you're doing. I really appreciate, I admire, I was like, yeah, you're welcome. And he even said what you said. Well, what I told you is like, I know you don't have to do this. Yeah, you're right. I don't have to do this, but I want to. I really do, because I know I can solve this damn problem. I know I can. So back to what I was saying is, Filipino settled. And John Jonas is responsible for the current state of affairs. He made that website. He made a Filipino do it, actually, for less than $5,000. Back when, I mean, if you want a website made now, you could vibe code that. But he had somebody that knew how to do WordPress. They did it. I think one of the guys that helped build it is a follower, but they didn't realize what they were doing, the consequences, right? And Filipinos don't like paying for anything, right? When they find out, oh, there's this website that came out of nowhere, we can make a free profile with no vetting process, no credentialing, and the possibility of finding employment from foreigners or Americans is highly likely. So of course, people were populating. Of course, you say Filipino, hey, it's free. You can get a job.
Let's populate that.
That rapidly grew to 2 million followers very, very quickly. Very quickly. Now, you think about it on John Jonas's mental state. He watched that server grow rapidly. He's like, now I have 2 million followers or 2 million users on that site. They didn't have to pay anything to get there. Now what I have assets to advertise now to American market.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So what does he do? He says, hey, I have this website. Proudly made in Utah. That's what it says on the American side. Made in Leahy, Utah. Talented, blah, 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 VA rock stars is what he calls them. And he doesn't talk about price because he's already been speaking about it prior to that. $250, that's all you got to pay. Maybe $450. He even made a freaking book. He made his own book on how to outsource a Filipino. And that's the title, How to Outsource a Filipino. Like we're a specimen, all right? So now the label Filipino, right, is already a signifier of they're cheap.
Yeah, it's like commodification.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It even went as worse as other countries saying that hire a virtual worker, but we're not cheap. Or I'm not going to drop some countries' names, but
he's a horrible salesman. When you sell a product, you never, ever talk about the price at the beginning.
That's true.
You don't.
Value.
You talk about quality. You talk about the why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Simon Sinek, one of my role models, he has a book called Start with the Why, right? Never start with the what. I'm going to say it in a method of military. If you expend all your ammunition on the first round, that next clip is useless. Okay. You talk about it. You describe it. It's 5.56 gas operated shoulder shot weapon. You talk about it. You talk about the weapon. You don't talk about how many rounds you're going to expend. Because once you expend the rounds, there's no point in talking about the weapon anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's kind of a weird analogy, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's the delivery. And then when all these gurus saying the same thing, they'll even have the price tag floating across their head: $2.50, $4.50.
And they do their pointy
right.
thing.
And then you get, and they're paying for those ads, right? Because any American who doesn't know about virtual outsourcing sector, I mean, it looks shady, right? You got about, I shit you not, 150 million Americans that don't even know about this accessibility. And they don't even know that it is legal. It is 100% legal to outsource someone to do work for you, whether it's a sole proprietor in a company. I mean, you knew this. You worked for Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
How much were they paying you an hour?
Oh, 3.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right? And where did they get that number from? They just pulled it out of their ass.
Definitely.
You hear me, Jeff Bezos? All right. So, yeah, people are literally guessing because that man is responsible for everything the way it is. Now I've told you how that website is purposely constructed. It has never changed. It protects the client. It allows the client accessibility to access you. That's it. Mm-hmm. Basically gave you a membership to, here's the door, okay, here, and they back off. Now you have this American client or whatever client who doesn't know the rules, he or she knows that they can post. There's no standardized format on how to post a job. I mean, I've seen some of these job posts. It's hilarious. At the same time, insulting. At the same time, dangerous. It's a free for all, right? And they put whatever price tag they want because they know that Filipinos will settle because they see an American dollar, they see that it's opportunity, and they're willing to take the risk because in this country, exploitation is kind of an everyday thing. It's expected. Like you guys are expected to live with that, like willing to take the risk because you got those red herrings. In case you guys forgot what red herring is, it's like, well, I am getting work from it. Sure. And my whole translation with that is, how casinos are constructed, right? The house always wins. Casinos were made to where the house always wins. Just because you get a jackpot doesn't change how the model of the rules of the house. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with it. You got lucky.
Yeah.
So you got a good client. There's good people, but those good people could be actually on an regulated full stack platform. Why hasn't OnlineJobs.ph become a full stack system?
Because there's no need to. Because if they're already earning money, what's driving them to actually make it more systematic? I think that's the nature of capitalism.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you just said it.
It is.
See, that's why I got him here. He says my favorite word. The model, the way it is more lucrative for him, and it's a paywall. The American clients pay. He doesn't have to do anything. You think any of that is affecting the Philippine economy? It doesn't touch it at all, And then these American clients are just told, well, what do I use to pay? Oh, you can use like PayPal, Wise, leave it up to you. But you have access now. Go ahead. You can make job posts. Do whatever you want. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, he actually says on his website, literally, pay your VAs however you want.
Wow.
Wow.
He's talking about you guys, human beings, And, I'm looking at this not only as a Philippine citizen, but also as an American citizen. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in my brain right now when I see this. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I dare you to say that to me, John Jonas. I dare you. I know he knows I exist. I know he does. He has blocked me. He has blocked Kasama. And, something that's so obviously corruptive and structured purposely, you would think he would have some negativity on his channels. There are none. Like, there's no way, guys. There's no way.
It's impossible.
He has filters on purpose. But there was a couple that slipped. Because his content creation is not manned by him, obviously.
Yeah,
It's
for
manned
sure.
by Filipinos. He has 20 or 24 ITs here in this country. And you see them on their names on the website, just by first name. And I can tell you right now, they don't know the bigger picture, obviously. It's no offense, like monkey say, monkey do. And I'm going to tell people now, because people have always asked me, how does OnlineJobs.ph allow such fraudulent and just those job postings? Like, how does it slip? Well, let's think about this systematically and mathematically. We can honestly say there's at least 2 million users on that site, right? 2
Or
million,
more.
Or more, at least. But let's start with 2 million because that's the number they say. And it's also very contradicting. It says the world's safest place to outsource a Filipino. Yeah, okay. That's a lie. Say 2 million. And I just told you there's only 24
IT.
ITs, I mean, that man the site. That would mean 2 million divided by 24. It's mathematically impossible to man that much activity on a job board site. So that's how they slip. Now, if you actually had a full staff, honestly, if he actually hired Filipinos or hired a full tech team to do it, and you're talking about for let's say 2 million users, you need at least 600 staff of 600 people. He's not going to do it because, first of all, that website is based out of Leahy, Utah, a UPS box, a virtual address box. We've spoken that before.
Yeah.
There's no entity here at all. Zero, right? And the site makes $10 million a year in subscriptions.
Crazy.
He could spend $200,000 and fix it, but he's not going to.
Yeah, by the way, a lot of people didn't know this. Yes, it's free for us Filipinos, but on the US side, he charges premium.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That I didn't know for sure. Like when I was applying, like my understanding was if it's free for me, it's free for the client.
Oh no.
Yeah, that wasn't transparent on my end. That's for sure.
You don't see that.
We're geocapped. Like the way we see the website,
It's a different version.
it's different in the US.
Crazy.
We had a full stack developer that we showed the other day. He never saw that side. He never seen John Jonas before.
He doesn't even know who John Jonas is.
Yeah, most Filipinos don't really know, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Think about Jose. One guy is controlling the mindset and the worth and the value of everyone in this country. Because look,
But is it a registered business in the US?
because it's producing money, yes.
Okay.
But is it labeled as a business, as a tech company? It is not.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the reason why he has to open an LLC, I just told you, it makes 10 million. So John Jonas cannot get sued.
That's true.
The LLC can, though. He can lose it all. He knew what he was doing, man. So if I had the ability to actually take it down and get Interpol involved, the worst thing could happen. The site goes down, but he would.
Yeah, he has no
he'll still walk.
liability.
He'll
Yeah.
still walk. So that's why every day I'm gonna say, "Fuck OnlineJobs.ph," and later I want you to go on YouTube and see what he says about us. He says, you get these guys a job on OnlineJobs.ph. You never know. You could be your job you're giving them. You're feeding them through the day because some of them, they don't have money to eat. Like we're a third world country or something.
Literal words.
Literal words.
He says some Filipinos don't even get to eat at least thrice a day. They eat like once. That's it. You're actually saving them from poverty by paying your
It's that
VAs.
white savior persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this amount of dollars. Like there was even a question. That's why he created a video, an ad creative about it. Am I underpaying my VAs if I just pay them $46 an hour? He says, no, you're actually saving them. Some of them don't even eat thrice a day. I'm like, what?
I mean, even if that's true, that's not a selling point. Like that shouldn't be a selling
Well,
point.
it gives the American client that he's trying to convince to subscribe, like, hey, you're helping these people out. So it's not even about business anymore. It's like,
Emotional marketing.
emotional
Yes,
marketing.
there's
Like,
emotional
what,
involved.
this is a humanitarian mission now? Like, what is this? I doubt he has any Filipino American friends like me in Utah. I doubt.
Well, I have very strong opinions on how the US functions, but Utah
ever
is a
been?
controversial
Have
place.
you ever been? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
very controversial, my
Yeah.
God. People ask me all the time, like, what's it like living in America? I was like, well, I mean,
No.
it has its pros and cons.
Is it milk and honey or just?
Well, okay. I can't speak for America, right?
Yeah.
I can only speak for what I've been through and where I've lived and the military. Okay. I can vouch for that. We are so separated. Oh, he's here. We are so separated. Like, even in the Philippine community, okay? You got the Tagalogs that are separated from the Ilocanos,
Yeah, usually.
right? Ilocanos separated from the Visayans,
Yeah.
right? When I first immigrated to the United States, well, not by choice really. My family was responsible for establishing the Filipino American or the Filipino Women's Club. That was the first Philippine organization. But after about 10 years, the Visayans, the Ilocanos, they decided, hey, we want to have our own group. And then they started specifying or identifying themselves not as Filipino, but as their dialect. So when you go up to them, you're like, are you Filipino? No, I'm Ilocano. Okay, what country is that?
Okay. Yeah.
They're trying to decentralize away from the country, and then, like, you're saying that as if it's not in the Philippines, man. Like,
And let me ask you this, right? You've been to the States like briefly 2 weeks. Have you ever?
Never.
Okay.
Not yet.
Are you Asian?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you Asian?
definitely.
I am Asian. There are Filipinos in America that surrender that title and call themselves Pacific Islander. Now, if you grew up in Hawaii like Chris or Guam, okay. But there's nothing Pacific Islander about us. Okay, so Filipinos have a really serious identity issue as well. I mean, I moved to the States in the '90s, where we were seriously people were trying to figure out what we are. I mean, look how different we are. You know, your skin tone, whatever. So, like, are you Vietnamese? Are you Chinese? Whatever. So, that's another thing is us as Filipinos in America. People are still trying to figure out, what does a Filipino look like. You know. Now, there's been actors that have been definitely trying to highlight us, like Dante Bosco. He was Rufio in Hook, and he made the movie Debut back in the '90s. But everyone's like, oh, it's just like Mexican, Spanish. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're kind of a mutation of all that, and it makes sense because we were conquered in 1521 by the Spanish and Mexico simultaneously, right? And Puerto Rico, right? So if anything, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Philippines, we're same. Everything we do is pretty much the same.
Even some of our foods have the same name.
Yeah.
Same flavor type.
As Jokoi says, we're able to turn their food into, their bad words into food, like, puto.
We're referring to rice cake, by the way.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't want to like say ill will or bad things about the Filipino American side, but yeah, we're having a hard time to really be part of, like the Vietnamese, the Japanese, the Chinese. They got it figured out, man. They do. They got their own towns. They got their own cities. They got their own government. They genuinely help each other. I'm not saying Filipinos don't. But when Filipinos come to the United States, they go move to Filipino towns and they stay within that whole circle. And when they go into business, it's really just the same typical things. I mean, honestly, like be a nurse, be a cartero, go into financial professions within their community. So you're gonna cap out somewhere, or they go into food service or go into restaurants and food. That's all they know how to do. So if that's all they know how to do, it ends up stopping somewhere. And Las Vegas just introduced Philippine Town, right? We're like, oh wow, crazy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just opened up like last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope it doesn't become like the typical Filipino towns across the United States, especially the one in LA. Oh God, I think I showed you. The only reason it's Filipino town because there's a big parole on the city street, but there's nothing that you can tell. I mean, was everybody gonna have a Bahay Kubo in the middle of downtown LA? No, but right next to it is K-Town, Koreatown. I mean, Koreatown's got skyscrapers and lavish restaurants, and I mean,
you could easily identify that that's a Korean town.
Mm-hmm. But the introduction of Filipino Town is this thing that says Filipino Town right by Echo Park, and then to the left is a bunch of like Bicol Express, like really street food stuff, and it's like, guys. And then same thing with their politicians. Like they don't last very long, because of the things they do and say. I'm not going to talk about that, but we all know, right? It just this thing.
If you know, you know.
This thing in our DNA, it just goes over there. I personally, I'll tell you right now, I don't get along with a lot of Filipinos in America. I really don't. Because of the stereotypical norms and the things they kind of just default into. The same like. They don't know that they're bringing the same toxic traits and bad habits that have stemmed here to America, and then they sell out. They really do. They sell out. They could care less about what's going on back home,
Yeah.
And what I'm doing is very unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very unique. I even, when I started this whole project, I belong to a very big Filipino American military group. And I said, hey, I'm doing this, this form of entrepreneurship. It's very, very unique and something I want to do. And I think it's our duty as Filipino Americans to extend the opportunities to our people. Some people said, no, it's not our responsibility. They have to learn how to adjust if they're going to want our help. I was like,
disowning. I'm like,
yeah, sell out, man, totally.
Yeah, but to clarify, like Kasama Connect is doing the government's job. Like regulation is a government's job, and
what it should have been in the first
Yes.
place.
yeah,
I'm not going to say I anymore. We are creating the system that should have been in place from the beginning.
yeah,
Ownership, rules, governance, right? I don't want to talk too much about the code because I heard there are people trying to copy me.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to patent it first just
Yeah,
to be
but
safe.
My app, our app, has been almost over 3 years of study. There's no way someone's going to catch up to me right now, and there's no Filipino American doing what I'm doing, and there's no 20-year military veteran doing what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
try. Go
A
ahead,
lot
try.
of them, they like, I want to do this. You know this personally. You know this
Yes,
personally.
they know that there has to be change, but they're just
Ideas.
no, they're just doing another agency model and saying I'm going to do this.
No, but somehow you're right. Like, they got this great idea. The moment they see a price tag on it, I'm out.
Yeah.